Okay, so setting up our belly bands. Boss man is setting them up.
See, then you set up your loop. We're setting up a Polish wedge.
Okay.
I mean, no pun intended, but that's what it's called.
Okay.
Hold on, let me get my razor knife. And you find your band,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go in, and you cut just above it. Then you put it in. Then you go through your hole, and then you pull.
Very nice.
Of course it is. You know it's kind of tight. If we were not gonna if we were gonna shrink wrap this, it would be really tight. But
Mm-hmm.
in this instance here, we have to take this cover off again for future work this winter, so we leave it like this. And then the customer has the option of either I shrink it and not reuse it,
Mm-hmm.
or he can reuse it again next year.
Beautiful.
You kind of gotta guess how much string it's gonna take to go across the boat, and I'm guessing 13 feet, because the boat's about 7 feet wide, and there's about 2 feet up the side, so you figure about that far. Then you cut it. Then you find your perimeter band. Find the middle of the boat, which is right about here. Then you cut. And you just tie a square knot here, because you never undo this one. Just a square knot, granny knot, whatever you want to call it. Then you go over, and you always want to stay as close to the hull as you can. First off, it saves on your material, and secondly, it seems to be a lot tighter when you're done with it. See, and then you go up.
Mm-hmm.
Then you find your band.
Really is a science, huh?
Huh?
It's a science.
Well, I've been doing this for pretty close to 20 years. See, then you make your loop,
Mm-hmm.
and you tie it through. It's like tying your shoelaces. And then you just pull. And then see how tight it gets?
Will that stay?
Oh, it will stay once you do your next knot. See, and then there it is. And then you just tuck this up. See, now in the spring, all you have to do is,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And it's all set for you. No, you don't want a long tail, so you just kind of tie it off. You know, that's all. You don't need too long a tail, so there it is. That's, then you come around to the other side and you do your front one. you gotta guess, you know, how wide it is by how much string you need, and there
Okay.
it is. Then you pull it off. Then you find your flattest part in the front. See, because you don't want to be on the front, on the curve. So right about here is good. Then you cut your hole. Tie it through. I always like to tuck my ends in. It just looks neater when it's done.
Okay.
And then throw it around. And then you come around. Pull it tight. Then you come through. There it is.
Beautiful.
Job well done. Now we gotta put our vents on.
Okay. Vents.
I prefer to use these Dr. Shrink. The number is right on there if you need to order them. I pay $1.79 a piece for these. Okay, but they will not shrink or stick. They won't stick to wrap that is not shrunk because the wrap itself has an oil on it.
Okay.
So what you first have to do now is let me grab my ladder. Now remind you, this is for a reusable cover. Otherwise, this would be already shrunk and drum tight, just like it is here.
Okay.
So what you got to do is you take your heat gun and then you go up where you want your vent to be and you go and you can see that it makes a nice stretched area.
Okay.
Then you let that cool. Then you go around to the other side. If you position your torch midship, you should be able to cover both sides of the boat without ever having to follow the tank. You know, otherwise somebody's got to follow you around with the tank,
Okay.
and it's kind of a pain in the ass. So then you come over here, and then you want one vent on this side. So you go, and it smooths out. See where it's smooth? That's where you're going to put your vent. By this time, the other side is already cooled. with me, Kirsty. Follow me. You might
Just
have
want to
to
be able
step
to,
up a little bit.
yeah, because I want to skip this.
Don't hurt yourself. See? Now, you can see where it's all smooth. And it's dry. This is here, it's got a film of oil on it because it wasn't heated. So, and again, this is only to if you plan on reusing the cover every year. So now all you do is you cut an X where you want your vent to go. Now you take your vent,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to get this two-sided tape off sometimes. So I always use a razor blade to get it started. And then off it goes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, there really is a science to this. And then
There is.
Then you can take your vent and you open it up, see, and then
Okay.
you just stick it on, and then you reach inside and make sure that it's totally stuck around the outside of it. See, it won't come off.
Mm-hmm.
Then you just do this, and then it's all reattached. See, it does not come off.
Okay.
And then by the time you're done with this, the other side is already cooled, and then you
Okay.
can do the same thing.
Okay.
Did you record this part?
Oh,
No.
yeah.
You
No,
did?
I got it. I got everything.
good.
Yeah. Got everything. Oh.
See what I mean? It's already tight.
Okay.
See? It's
Mhm.
tight. This cover is tight.
Mm-hmm.
First off, this is oily. So nothing sticks to it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And with it being loose like this, when the wind blows, it automatically just blows the snow right off anyway.
Okay.
Before it has a chance to build up and end up with a big heavy cover.
Okay. It's got to do your X, right? Yeah. It's 2 trains. Sorry, guys. That's our trains. Right in front of the train tracks.
Test. See, it's not going to come off.
Okay. Very cool.
There it is. And then there you have your removable shrink wrap cover,
Removable shrink wrap cover.
even though it isn't shrunk.
Got it.
And you should get about 3 years out of it.
Very nice. Okay.
When you want to take it off, all you do is undo your slip knots
Got it.
and your belly bands.
Okay,
You
guys, that's
undo
it.
these first. Otherwise, you end up, pulling your.
Okay.
If you undo this, then these lose their tension.
Got it.
So you always undo your belly bands first,
Got it.
and then roll it up inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And in the spring, you just set up your uprights and
Okay.
put it all back together.
Very good.
And then there you have it.
There you have it.
A very dry boat.